Okay, I have a pretty interesting concept. What if the electrons in the atom, around the atom, that actually spin, didn't actually spin at all? In other words, they were not spinning inside the human body. My concept, my theory is that that person, or whatever that life form is it's eternal. Its body. In other words, immortal. Yes, immortal. I'll explain why. It's very simplicity, using a scientific approach. Basically, we know that that the electrons that spin around the atom in each person's body gives us mass, also gives us a time flow. In other words, the perception of time is based on the actual electron spinning around the atom. Why? Because if E equals mc squared, that's Einstein's theory. Basically, the faster an object moves, the more mass it acquires, and also the slower time slows. Basically, what I'm trying to say is the electron spinning around the atom, because it's spinning at so fast velocity of 1% the speed of light around the atom itself, it's so fast. That's 18 seconds around the world. That's 18 seconds every time basically spinning around the Earth in theory. That's how fast it's going. So every 18 seconds of your life, the electron spinning around the atom in your body at 1% speed of light. So because the electron is spinning so fast, that gives a person, an object, whatever matter it is, that gives that atom mass, and also allows time to flow. Depending how fast that electron is spinning, that dictates how fast time is going to flow. In other words, is it your time flow is going to go faster or slower? Are you going to age quicker? Are you going to age slower? For example, the perfect science is when you have two twins, one in the mountain and one at sea level. The one in the mountain ages quicker because it's underneath is a mountain, which has more mass. The other one's just the earth itself, but the one in the mountain, you got the earth plus the mountain. That's more mass, and the person ages quicker by milliseconds. So basically, the more mass, the faster you age, right? So, so same thing with the electron. The faster it spins, the electron basically gives more mass to the atom. In other words, because it's connected directly to the atom, it's one unit. Even though they're spinning around the atom, it's still one unit. It gives the atom more weight. Also, because more weight actually affects how fast or how slow time is perceived, or actually travels. So it actually flows. So the whole universe perception of time is based on the fact that the electron velocity around the atom. People, objects, matter, the planets, the sun, the universe, the elements, everything's made of atoms. And atoms have electrons, and how fast those electrons spin is how fast time flows. No electron spin, you will not have no mass in the entire universe. You would have no time, zero time. Okay, because you need electrons to spin around the atom to give mass and to give time flow. So if you have no electron spinning, you have no mass, no time flow, no inertia, and no gravity. Because when you have a mass object, it also gives you gravity. Because also when an object spinning in a centrifugal force, that gives you inertia. Inertia gives gravity. So if you have no electrons spinning around an atom, you have, like I said before, no mass, okay, no time flow, no inertia, and no gravity. 4 things you will not have besides the centrifugal force. You will also not have that, so it's actually 5. Because, as you know, everything spins in our entire universe, from the biggest to the smallest. Our galaxy is this little object. The cone shape, which would be in theory a balloon shape, but it has an angle. That's our entire universe, which is the fabric of time and space, which is a real fabric. So as it spins, it creates centrifugal force, and everything has centrifugal force, from the largest to the smallest, everything. So our universe is spinning, and that creates centrifugal force, push the galaxy to the side of the fabric of time and space, and then since it's pushing it sideways to hold it there, but since it's got an angle, it also pushes it up, and that explains why, like these 2 dots are 2 galaxies. That's why it explains it. As they move forward, each one, this was also a galaxy right here, each one separates from each other. So as they move forward, the galaxies are spreading apart, because the universe itself is like a cone shape rotating universe, which is the fabric of time and space. If it was a rectangle, then this universe will stay in one place. I'm sorry, repeat that. This galaxy will stay in one place, but the universe is the whole thing. So if this thing was rectangular or square, the actual universe, then the galaxy will stay in one place. But since the cone-shaped universe theory, that explains why, besides the fact that gravity, by spinning inertia, creates gravity, pushes the object to the side this way, and then takes it up because of the cone-shaped angle. That's why it explains it why the galaxies, are separating as they move forward. Anyway, that's just the universe. Then you have our galaxy spinning around the black hole. That's also centrifugal force, whatever you call it, spin, whatever you want to call it. So now we're going smaller from the universe now to the galaxy, because it's spinning around the black hole. Then our own immediate solar system with our 9 planets, we have the sun, Earth, and the moon. Basically, the planets spin around the sun. That includes Earth. Okay. So that's another centrifugal force right there, also spinning. Now, if you want to go a smaller scale, now you have the moon spinning around the Earth. That's another centrifugal force. Okay? Of course, also the sun affects it, but either way, the moon's rotating around the actual Earth. Now, here's another one. If you go smaller scale, the Earth spins on itself as it goes around the sun. It's spinning by itself, and then rotating around the sun. So now, on a smaller scale, the Earth itself is spinning, rotating, just rotating itself. So that's another rotation. That's another centrifugal force. Now, if you want to go smaller than that, the Earth is made of atoms, and inside the atoms you have the electrons, and they spin around the atoms at 1% speed of light. So everything spins. So if the electrons in your body, they need to spin. They control the flow of time. You need to have flow of time. So if there's no time, you can't be born, you can't die. So you need time itself to actually flow to be born, and for the person to die, or basically death. So that's what happens when you have time. Time allows you to be born. Time allows you to be, the process of death. Even a person, when they pass away and when they die, even then the electrons still spinning around the atoms. It doesn't stop. So you need time flow to be born. You need time flow to flow for a person to the process of death. But what happens if the person is born and for some reason they stop the electrons from spinning? In concept and theory is that person outside of time and space and becomes immortal. Now, that's a scientific possibility, because if there's no electrons moving in that body, whatever that body is, then the person or being or whatever that thing could be is eternal. It's immortal, because you need electrons to for time to flow. If the new body doesn't have any electrons spinning, then you're outside of time and space. You're outside of time. You or that person or whatever is immortal. There's two ways to become immortal. One way is you were outside time and space universe before it got created, the universe itself. So you are actually outside time and space. So therefore you have no electrons. So you have no time flow, a specific flow. I don't know how to explain it. It's my theory. And the other is that you were born, and at some point later in life, your electrons are changed, or slowed, or stopped. So now the person has time doesn't flow. So if time doesn't flow, you can never reach death. So in other words, death does not exist. So that person becomes immortal. So it sounds like science fiction, but using science as a backbone, yes. If a body has no electrons spinning, there's no time flow, so that person or that being will never reach death, because you need time to flow in that person's body to create death. That's why there's electrons in people, animals, plants, the planet, matter, sun, moon, galaxies. Everything in the universe that has matter has electrons spinning. That's what controls time itself. If a person's own body had the electrons not spinning, it still was, for some reason, miraculous reason, was not disintegrated, that body will be outside of time and space, and there will be no death. It becomes immortal, because time will not flow forward. If you have no flow, it's like the water. If you don't open the faucet, the water will never come out. So in this case, if you have no time flow, death will never come. Death doesn't exist. That person is immortal outside time and space. So the electron spinning around the atom is a major breakthrough.